Rich Brueckner, you are the owner, president of insideHPC. What is insideHPC doing?
Well, insideHPC is a focused publication on high-performance computing. So it's kind of a blog format. It's a rolling set of stories. So every day we write somewhere around a half dozen stories about high-performance computing. Might be videos, podcasts, stories picked up from the web, interviews, that kind of thing, all focused on the very fastest of the fast computers in the world.
Are you doing this by you alone, or you have employees?
I have a couple of employees that are writers as contractors, and I have a couple of salespeople that go out and we pay the bills by selling little ads to industry. So companies like Intel and AMD, advertise with us to reach our users, which we've done some surveys. About 70% of our readers are high-performance computing users. So these are the people that are actually using clusters to do simulation, or the people that administer those machines and keep them running and keep them going fast.
So you are creating now a kind of a community, the supercomputing community, and this is what I'm interested in understanding how you manage a community. Let's say you start with some ideas and how you create all these people going to your web pages and what you give to them. Tell me about that.
Well, I had kind of a background in this. I was the HPC Community Manager at Sun Microsystems, and Sun was a very popular and well-known technology company in the enterprise space. They weren't well-known in HPC. So I had the task of building that community because they had a set of very closely knit customers that really believed in what Sun was doing, and they had Andy Bechtolsheim and people like that working on HPC. So I took that knowledge when I took over insideHPC from a user named John West. He worked at the Department of Defense in the US, and he built up a readership just writing about high-performance computing. So what I do to build community is I use tools from all over the web, multimedia, videos from YouTube, podcasts from iTunes, things like this that people can engage with in different ways and find the modality that they like. Some people like to read a lot. We have lots of interviews, things like that. Community is about participating. It's about commenting and sharing information, and that's the philosophy behind insideHPC.
When we speak about these channels you are using to engage the community, you said you have blog, you have also Twitter, and by Twitter you have the videos and so on. Can you say about the importance of these different medium, if you could say in percent or in the order of the importance?
Oh, sure. It's interesting. People ask me where I get my stories because they read about things first on insideHPC. Oddly enough, I follow 300 to 400 people on Twitter that write about HPC things. So it's like having 400 reporters out there watching the internet all the time and spying for me. And they might write about a story they found, or a picture, or a slide deck, or a document. And I take that and turn that into a news post instead of streaming news stories. I found that more powerful than Google, Facebook, or any of these other things. Twitter is incredibly powerful for that. So I kind of return the favor. All my stories turn into Twitter posts as well, and I have a following there. So Twitter's nice in that it's viral. People can retweet what you say, or say, someone said this is interesting, I agree, I want my followers to know about it. So that's what really makes Twitter powerful, is that it's short and concise, and that it's so easy to share and spread the information.
Are people really looking at the videos? Because in my statistic I have from my pages, I see that I have many readers and few people looking at the videos. What is the percentage? You have some numbers.
Well, we look at the posts every day, that we have the most popular stories. Videos tend to rise to the top of that, but if you look at the metrics that YouTube, which is the channel that we use to distribute videos, a typical video on our site might get 200, 300, 400 people that find it through Google, but that doesn't count all the people that watch it on the site. So insideHPC has a great following. We have 800,000 page views per month. So this isn't just the HPC community, because that's too small. There's only probably about 12,000 people in the worldwide HPC community. But there's this greater tech community out there that are interested in the cutting edge of high-performance computing. Just developers, people on the internet, or people that just love technology that are readers of our site. So the videos, you know, it isn't so much the sheer number, but think about the time they're spending with you. Okay, so like a video today of Dr. Panda is an hour long, right? So if I typically get 300-400 people looking at Dr. Panda's video, spending that hour with me on my site, that's really powerful, because think about how long you stay at another news site like CNN. You check the headlines, you're probably gone in 3 minutes. You might spend an hour and a half on Inside HPC because of the depth and the quality of the information.
It's more sticky than other channels.
Yeah.
Did you try out, for example, Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook, I don't really get for business. I know a lot of people do. We have a Facebook page, and our stuff is reflected there. We don't see a lot of discussion. I think Facebook is hard because depending who you are, and if you're single, they'll run ads down the side that are dating sites and stuff, and it's just not business appropriate, in my view. So that's a challenge with Facebook. I think LinkedIn is a much more powerful venue for that. I use that for certain highlight showcase stories, and because there's a community out there that loves to comment and share LinkedIn stories, and they will have very long, in-depth discussions about these stories or these videos. And I think, you know, that's a great place because you can meet people with shared interests, whereas Facebook, I just don't see how it gets outside your social circle.
You say that community is also about engagement. How you feel that people are really not just consuming, but to give you feedback? Because how many comments we have on the pages, and how long do you need to get comments on your page? Because I look on HPCCH and I see if I have one comment every X months, then it's much.
Yeah, and frankly, we don't get a lot of comments if you compare like our stories to like Slashdot. I mean, it doesn't matter what the topic, Slashdot will have a couple hundred comments within a few hours. You know, they got a great reach that way. I think inside HPC, we'll only get a few comments per week, actually. So usually it's pointing to more information versus disputing anything. We don't take very much of an editorial stance with our stories. You know, we'll recommend that somebody check something out. So I think that part of it is that. And frankly, I'm kind of relieved because I don't want it to be a place where people snipe about this technology is better than the other. I don't think that's a productive discussion in high-performance computing.
So it's just much more informative what is happening there, like a newspaper more.
Yeah, and and when we get things wrong, they let us know. So those kind of comments I get a lot, and I do post those, and I try to reply right away and let them know that we fixed the problem. So yeah.
We are here at the conference in Lugano and the HPC Advisory Council. And what are you doing here in person?
What am I doing here? So the HPC Advisory Council, I'm a media sponsor for these workshops. So that means I come to the event, I write about the event, I record videos of the lectures so that people back home who couldn't travel to these great places like Lugano, they can at least listen to the lecture, continue to do their email. And I think that's another thing that's great about these YouTube things and the podcasts is that you can be learning something while you continue to do your work, and that you can't do that with a big long article of 2,500 words. You have to focus for half an hour, and I think that kind of time is just really hard to find these days in the workplace.
You introduced me to the world of video blogging. Can you show me what infrastructure are you using?
Okay. So, well, one of my favorite tools is of course the video cameras that I use. And I'm going to pull one off here. This is a Kodak makes something called the ZI-8, and Kodak, of course, is I think they're bankrupt, but I think they're still in business. These are great. You can get them on Amazon for about $80. And what's powerful about these is they shoot full 1080p HD video. But what's really the important feature is they have what's called a microphone input. And what that does is it allows your microphone cable that I can hook to a soundboard at like a conference like this, a mixer that it connects to all the microphones, and I can plug right into that, and I can get professional sound without any noise around me into that video, and it's perfect for PowerPoint, right? It's a fixed focus. It doesn't have a zoom, so you put it up and you frame it as best you could by physically distancing yourself to the camera, and you hook it up to the sound, and these things are great. They record on good old-fashioned little mini memory cards like this, right? You can get a 32 gigabyte card for like $20 US. That's enough video for 2 weeks of conference, okay? So memory is cheap. And what's great is these record is on QuickTime format, which is easy to bring into the Mac and edit and send up to YouTube for distribution.
How do you organize the post-production? Once you have now here, you send it to your colleagues in the office and they do all the work, or you do it in your hotel before going to bed?
No, I actually do it on the fly here. So like today, we've been here about 8 hours. I have put in 4 of the presentations already up on YouTube. What I do is I bring them into the Mac, I edit them, I put a title slide on them, make sure all the sound is good, and then send it up to YouTube for distribution.
What software do you use on the Macintosh for editing?
Oh yeah, for editing I use Final Cut Pro, which is a professional editing package. Hollywood uses it. It's the tool I knew how to use, but you can use just about anything. The free iMovie that comes with the Mac is good. There's lots of tools for Windows for editing. I think Avid has some. Microsoft comes with one called Windows Movie Maker. So they are all capable of doing that. There's even open source free softwares that can work with these files. There's a little bit of learning curve editing there, but it's not hard to do.
And I've seen you working at the supercomputing conference. Then you had a different setting. You had, let's say, a professional camera, someone helping you. What camera did you use at that time?
Oh yeah, so I hired a professional. He used a Canon DSLR because I had to shoot 30 videos in the space of 3 days. So setting up and using my normal rig, no, I needed professional gear. We were moving from booth to booth every 30 minutes. We were shooting somewhere new. What's great about those kind of cameras is that they have professional lenses, so you get great depth of field, and they also have the audio input, right? So he used a professional XLR balanced audio, wireless microphones like we're using here, nice Sennheiser stuff. So I was guaranteed to get quality stuff, not junk with crackling sound or any of that. So that's the way we go when we're on the run at one of these big shows.
Okay. And tell me, if someone is starting to creating, let's say, a new community about any field, as not to be about computing or supercomputing, what would you tell to this person?
Well, you know, I had kind of a friend in the business at Sun Microsystems. Her name's Deirdre Strawn, and she's written up a number of blog posts on exactly how to do what I do, the kind of equipment to buy, how to hook it up, how to engage with the community, and I'll give you the link for that, because I learned a lot from that. I've got my own systems and things, but I think for a new person coming into this, Deirdre does a great job. She's at Joyent now, building that community from scratch, and she's just got it all documented in one easy place to find.
Okay, so I wait for your link, and we will post it on this blog.
Terrific.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Have a good success here in Lugano.
I will.
And see you at the next conference.
Very good.
Thank you, Rich.